All right, everyone, one more pop-up lesson, why not, right, for today. Okay, we're going to do one more song book tune for today. So let me pull up the window that I need, and we'll pull up the book. And if you saw in the thumbnail, it's sort of a beach picture. So let me explain that. Is that we have our Blues Academy Blues and Jazz Songbooks with Bob Volume 1, 19 songs with all these crazy titles. And if you go down here, what I love about this book is it is very interactive. You can just click on what you want, Island Blues. And if I wanted to hear what it sounds like, it'll give me a finale version, which isn't the best. It's just the audio of the song, but at least you get to hear it. So it'd be like this. All right. We won't bother with listening to that. It sounded like two audio tracks were on that time. Okay, so here we go. This is the Island Blues, the IMA, Music Academy Island Blues. And I put in here that you're going to level up your vocabulary, and here's what I mean by that is there are so many different concepts we've been doing. We've been doing third up to the root, where you learn this kind of stuff, and sixth, and lots of different blues licks with the blues scale. Well, this is a very simple concept, but it's teaching a whole lot of things in this one idea. So in our Blues Academy, we've been finishing up Blueberry Hill. And the intro to Blueberry Hill, there's this little trill that we learned. And that's the interval of a third. So you have your major third, and you have your minor third. And so what I want to explore in this particular very simple song, I'm going to teach you the whole song, so you don't necessarily need the sheet music or anything. We'll go ahead and learn this right away. But in our left hand, we kind of have that island feel or New Orleans kind of feel where you get a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. The only trick about this left hand is getting the and of 2 into your muscle memory. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And the way you get all of these bass lines is do left hand only. 1 and 2 and 3 and when you go to F, it's the same exact shape, just starting on F. And we don't learn bass lines here just to play this particular song, right? I want you to be able to know this so you could take any lick from iMusic Academy, even lick number 1 that sort of started it all, and you do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I think even for in our academy, we did You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, right? Was our January song. So we did You Ain't Nothing But a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So ba ba da da da. But we had this bass line throughout the whole thing. So you can always take these different bass lines and put them over thousands of songs. If I was playing Happy Birthday. All right, here we go. Let's learn the song. So the first thing is, notice in the right hand you have E and G. So this will be a minor third interval of a third, and that's what this whole song is about. 1 and 2, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's kind of an island feel. Let's talk about that first line. With all of these things, we like to break things down. So we have this interval that you definitely need to use and put this into your playing. It's the interval of the minor third here on a C blues. 1 and 2 and chromatic tension. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The fingering I use here at the top is I'm doing a root and third, and I come down chromatically, so one note at a time. And I like this idea of 4 2 4. I'm sorry, 4 2 4, 1 and 3 and 2 4. Da da da. Now I do have a classical background, so I was learning pieces that I would use things like this kind of fingering, which is really nice when you're doing classical music, but how does it relate to our blues playing? Well, I'm always trying to find the right fingering that's going to really make things successful for everyone, including me. So we had this idea of the very first line, ba 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 da da. So I do 2. This is a great fingering, 2 4. If you go chromatically down, that fits perfectly in the hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's talk about lining the beats up. With everything, you can always go really slowly and play things slow and straight. If you ever need help locking something up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, those are together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. And notice the and of 2 gets that. And then I put this together. 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let me check the chat just to make sure. I want somebody to be brave here and just say hello in the chat if you're enjoying these lessons. I've been doing a whole lot of lessons that are just kind of pop-up lessons, but I hope that you enjoy them. I'll try to get a little different variety in all the lessons we're doing. This is the last song in this book, but I wanted to go over this idea of using these thirds. Well, let's say that you had this idea and we learned the whole song and you understand, well, that's using the third and the fifth, and then here we're using C7 right there. Well, even with the idea of the triplet that we've been doing, I could do this. Did you guys see what I did there, right? I learned the technique of the thirds, and here I'm starting on the very first part of this line. I say, all right, 3 and 5 of any key, any chord that you're on, and that's going to work. And also when I went up here at the top, I did root and third again. I went da da da, which is going to lead me perfectly to the F chord. Da 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 da, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But imagine if you had just this vocabulary idea where you went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All of that's on C, so C7. If you're playing a blues and just a standard C blues, so that time I just went down to C7, and you could keep going down and back down to C. Isn't that a nice thing that you can do? And that's why I put in the actual title of this thing to level up your vocabulary, right? Use these to level up. And so today's concept in this one little tune is the idea of using thirds. But it's also teaching us, once again, the reminder of using these different bass lines, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. I could have the same concept where I do you get it. You learn it and then you make it your own. Okay, let's go on to the second line. The second line does this, F chord, so you're already building up the muscle memory of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and now let's slow it down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and those lock up together. 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, I'm on the F chord still, and I'm on the 5th and the flat 7th of F. Hey Vicky, good to see you. I'm not surprised that Vicky's here. I'm very encouraged. Thank you for being here, Vicky, one of our Blues Academy members. Quick side note, thank you for everybody who's been commenting on all my lessons in the public channel. You guys are awesome, and I really I look at every comment, and I try to take feedback from you guys and what you're enjoying, so thank you so much for doing that. Keep that up, and I'll say what everyone else says, is that it does help the channel, which it does. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da da da. So this is the same concept, but now on F. then back to C. Right? Let me do it a little bit slower. One, I'm on the second line. One, and let me make sure you guys can see the second line. Let me pull up the chart here. Okay, so we're on the second line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now I just did the second line, and let me say something very important. We're always talking about repetition is your friend, things like this, and 2 and 3 and the only reason that I can talk to you and still play this bass line is because I'm continuing to take the time to play left hand only, right hand only licks, and then you learn how to lock the hands up. So you build up muscle memory by being very intentional of how you do it. Take it slow and take one thing at a time. Usually I would say use the metronome, but for those of you who've been following me lately, as I'm not using the online metronome because there's a slight delay in my software, and that it's just enough to be annoying. But I would encourage you guys to definitely use your metronome at a very slow tempo. You have this idea of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And another thing that I'm doing is I'm counting out loud. I want to encourage everyone to do that. Start to get in the habit of, if you're doing a bass line that requires the and, 1 and 2 and 3 and, just practice doing that out loud, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you're doing a bass line that's 6/8 or 3/4, 1 and 2 and 3 and, or 1 2 3 4 5 6, or if you have, like in the Ray Charles, the Fats Domino, the Blueberry Hill, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and. You guys know for the whole month, the Blues Academy, we've been doing this, even in different keys. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and. So it's not just playing the lick, it's getting used to counting out loud. And I promise you guys that you can do it. You just have to learn how to start thinking out loud some of these things and practice your counting. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. And today's lesson we're counting the and of 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This will help you lock this bass line up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Imagine if you did this every day or a couple times a week, this one bass line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And now let me do it at a snail's pace. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, now let's do the last line. The last line of the song is G, so we're already building up our muscle memory of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then it goes to that's just one bar, and we go to F, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we go down to C, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then it does 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Vicky, thank you so much for the generous donation. That's very thoughtful of you to do that. It's rare that I get a super chat on this channel, but I'm very thankful when that happens. Every penny is reinvested in what we're doing, so thank you, Vicky, so much. That's very thoughtful and very generous. Okay, so we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now let's do the right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Now here's a triplet here, so we can do it like 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I guess the way I would count that out loud, I've never tried that, of counting this triplet out loud for the 2 quarter notes. I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and I like that. So 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and then we do 1, and 2, and 3, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and I don't know. Let's see, make sure I'm doing that right. Yeah, I like that fingering. So this is back to that idea of classical studies of kind of coming up. You have lots of different options on this finger. You can go 1 and 2 and 3, where I'm using 5 1 4 2 1 3 is what I have here. You can also just go 2 4 2 4, but it's not as connected. We'll do what's written. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yeah, that feels good to me. Let's go over each line again one more time, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you to the 4 people that have come in here. And Vicky, thank you so much for supporting the stream. You guys are awesome. We've had a really good week at iMusic Academy. Lots of new followers. We have people that are considering joining the Blues Academy, which I'm very thankful for. Let's do this. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. F chord. I'll slow this down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So a couple of things on that. I was doing different rhythms. Sometimes I would play it just slightly different. But now the idea is you learn the song exactly as it is, and then you make it your own. And here's what I mean by that. Once again, let's say I'm playing a very standard quarter note blues. And maybe I'm just used to playing example 1. So I'm just going to do the first measure as building up my vocabulary, and now I can use it however I want. I can go 1. See what I did there? I just took the very first line, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. That gives me my flat 7, and then I did this up here. Actually, I didn't do that. I didn't even get done with the first line. But this idea of if I'm playing da-da-da, isn't that nice? That sounding. So 2-4, 3-1, and 2-4. So if I'm playing just a regular blues, and 2 and. Fun. I love that. So what I was just doing there, several of those things I'd never done before. And this exact same thing will happen for you, is you learn this exactly as it is. 1 and 2, 3, 4, da da ba, and it doesn't even have a trill on it. And then it does dee da dum. And then just with that one idea, you're learning some very important things, right? What is happening? The 3rd and the 5th of C, and you go down a half step, right? And that goes to the 5th and the flat 7 of C. But even more importantly, well, not more importantly, but the idea of da 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 will set us up beautifully for a flat 7 and a 9, which leads perfect into the next line of F major. So if you just had those ideas right there, and I'm playing a blues. All right, let's wind up by doing each line one more time of just kind of going over the possibilities, and then you make it your own. Have fun with it. First thing I want you to do is practice 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and count out loud so you can really get the feel of that. 1 and 2. Let me slow it down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And then I say, okay, I had this idea. 3 of 5 of any chord we're on. It's going to give us this really nice thing. And going down chromatic is nice because it gives us a little attention. That's one idea to do. And then notice that whatever you do, if you go up to the root and third of any key you're on and go down chromatically, it sets you up perfectly for that nice flat 7 and 9. So you're going to practice this. Counting out loud 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Same thing on the next line. And let's go ahead and do the very last line. I did 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And it's the only way I figured out how to say that. That's the triplet there. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. I did 1, 2, and 3. And right here we do 1, 1, and 2, and 1, and. The fingering I'm using is 5-1, which may seem a little strange to some people. 1-5. I always say my fingerings bottom to top as well. 1-5, 2-4, and 1-3. Da da da. Any finger that's comfortable for you. So let's do the last line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So much fun with all of that. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out today, and I hope that you keep having fun with music. Vicky, thank you so much for the generous donation there, and thank you for everybody who is supporting the channel, whether it's through your purchasing courses, which are at imusicacademy.com. Also, just hanging out at the channel is very important. Can you play more slowly? Hey, Nancy. Nancy, I see a theme. You're wanting things a little bit more on the slow side? Yes, I can do that for you very much. And it's good to see you again. I always notice when Nancy drops in, so thank you so much. So once again, guys, thank you so much. I'll play this slowly and just do a quick mini lesson on this. But thank you again for your generous support of this channel. Vicky, thank you for your donation. Thank you for those of you who are getting resources at imusicacademy.com in the store. Also, thank you for comments on the videos. That's very helpful, and liking the videos, sharing the videos. It all does make a difference. So thank you so much. I'm always here to answer any of your questions. And when somebody like Nancy hops on and says, play it slowly, you can be assured that I'm going to do that. So Nancy, this is just a quick recap, because if you go back and watch the video, I think it'll help, and you can, of course, slow down the video once it's been once it processes. So this idea of, and this is for everybody, so you have the 3 and the 5, the 3rd and the 5th, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and now F. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let me play that last line a little more up to tempo to give you the feel of the last line. Crazy thing with all of these blues scale ideas and chord ideas is that once you get them down, you'll see that you can use them in any kind of configuration you want. Like just then I just did ba 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 ba. Coming down. Yeah. So that hopefully that helped you. Not the last part, Nancy, but the very, very slow part. You can play anything that you want to play. This is for everybody. If you play it slow and you play it straight, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and maybe you just need to do that measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and maybe that's my classical background kicking in, but that's the way I've always done it. I always say, if you're playing this idea of the most famous lick at iMusic Academy, you go 1 and 2 and. Okay, that locks up. My and of 2 locks up middle finger with what note? C. 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 and then it goes G with the F and A. There it is, and there it is. Same thing on F. And that's why I love to create products like we have this is in the store, but also for all of our members, of course, they get everything. But you get this is one of my favorite courses that I've done, is the Alternate Blues Volume 1, because every single lick goes with the different bass lines with just one lick. So we do stuff like this. You have quarter note. Quarter note. Then you have eighth note. Then you have the one we just did. Then you have the one that we did for today's earlier lesson. whenever you practice this stuff, any bass line, any lick, any idea, and you practice it very slowly and you work on left hand only, you start to build up muscle memory. So Nancy, Vicky, if you both did this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, you will get it. In the same way that you did the Fats Domino, We've been doing that in our Blues Academy for a month. Right? Boom. And we also did the Ray Charles. We've done that over this. So we have the only way that we do this stuff is that we practice it left hand only. That's the short answer. But Nancy's on the right track. You're saying, can you play it more slowly? That is the answer, Nancy. So great job on that. Vicky, have a great day. Nancy, have a great day. I will see you guys in the next video. And thank you so much for hanging out at iMusic Academy. You guys are awesome. And I'll see all of our Academy members ready to go Monday at 8 a.m. Central Time or on the replay. And you know who you are.